Hey everybody, so if you clicked on this video, you know exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about everything IUD, from how I chose to get which IUD I got to like life after IUD. It's been 3 months now, so I'll go ahead and just like start with a quick bio of myself. I am 22 years old. I was on birth control for roughly a year and a half. I was like the worst at taking my pill. That was one of the first red flags that I had for myself, the fact that I could not remember to take my pill on time. Another thing that happened while I was on the oral contraception, I used to get leg pains. It's one of those really random side effects that people get from contraception. I was kind of like nervous about the fact that I was putting so many hormones into my body. So let's go ahead and jump to my whole insertion process. There are 3 different types of IUD. So you have Parenthood, which is like a giant copper non-hormonal IUD. There's Mirena, which is the more common one. And then there is Skyla, which is the one I ended up getting, that protects you for 3 years, and it is a little bit smaller. It's smaller for people who have not had children. Mirena and Skyla are the 2 hormonal options that are on the market right now, while Parenthood is non-hormonal because it uses copper to, I don't know really what it does, but it's like mystical. It uses like copper to like fight off all those bad spermies. Pew, 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 pew. So I go ahead and tell my doctor, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this inserted. She tells me to go ahead and take a painkiller like an hour to 45 minutes before my appointment. I show up for my appointment. I did not do what she told me to do. I took Excedrin like 30 minutes before my appointment because I couldn't find my ibuprofen. It like ran away. I go into the office. I sit in a little waiting room with my friend. I had her drive me just in case. I did a lot of research on my own, so I was kind of like nervous because some people online said that they were fainting, and I'm kind of like a super dramatic person, so like I just had very low expectations for myself. So I go into the actual room that the procedure will be done in, and I sit on the table, you know, get all naked and whatnot. And then my doctor along with another nurse come into the room. So I go ahead and lay back. So she went ahead and put the little spatula doodad, you know how when you get pap smears they crank you open, you know, nice and wide. So they went ahead and did that, and then she took, I believe it's iodide. So she did that, and then she like had it on a little cotton swab and like swirled it around inside my goodness. And that like tickled. It was really weird. It tickled really bad. So after she got done with that, she told me it was time to actually start the procedure. Another thing to know is normally doctors have you come in for this procedure when you are on your period. It's supposed to be easier to actually insert the IUD. Your cervix is supposed to be a little bit softer. But because I'm a rebel, I did not go while I was on my period. I kind of skipped this part at the beginning, but I did have to take a pregnancy test at the beginning because she wanted to like make sure that I was not pregnant. So that was a little tidbit that happened before I got all naked and cranked open and whatnot. I'm cranked open, and sorry for my language, but this is just how I speak. So all nice and wide for the doctor. She puts this thing around my cervix to like stabilize it. I think that's what the internet said, and it basically like held it in place so I couldn't like squirm around, because I squirmed all over the place. So thank God for this thing. And then she put this little like tool in there. It's probably the diameter, I'm trying to find something. Okay, let's go like this. It was probably like the diameter of this little pencil right here. So she put it's called a something, I don't remember, but they basically put it inside of your uterus to like measure everything out, to make sure it's big enough, to make sure they don't push the IUD up too far. So they did that. That was kind of uncomfortable. On the scale of 1 to 10, I believe that was like a 3. So they measured it, and then they went ahead and put the IUD in. This was the most painful portion of the entire procedure. When she put in the actual IUD, I thought like I was gonna faint, honestly. I feel like a lot of videos online, everyone has this like super mystical experience where it only takes 15 seconds and they're like, oh, I just sneezed and it was inside of me. No, I screamed. I thought it was horrible. On the scale of 1 to 10, I definitely would say it's a 5 or a 6. Like 10 being my arm getting chopped off, okay? So like that's how I think about things. On the internet, it said it was something like a cramp. It is nothing like a cramp, okay? It is more like someone stabbing you with a needle inside of your body. That, I mean, it's pretty much what is happening. So once she actually got the IUD inserted into my body, they had to wait for 10 seconds for the IUD to actually like do that whole unfolding thing there. In that 10 seconds, it was super weird, but I could feel the IUD going into place. Like, it was just, I don't know, it was so weird. I just was not prepared to be able to feel that part of my body, particularly because I have never had children before. I've never felt anything squirming down there. So after she did that, she pulled the little like circular thing that the IUD was connected to out, the entire like device that was going on in my lady parts, and then she went ahead and cut the strings. So once the IUD like rod was out, like everything was over. I'm sitting there, she cuts the strings, she measures them, she gives me this cool little card so I know when everything expires, and then she lets me sit there for like 1 or 2 minutes, and then I go ahead and leave. I basically slept the entire day. I would wake up every once in a while, drink some tea, and take another Excedrin. One thing that I did feel that I was not really prepared for, because you never see it online, I could feel the IUD when I was sleeping. So you know how like when you're sleeping your body kind of like smushes into the side of your bed? Well, I could feel the IUD like poking the side of my uterus from the inside, which was so weird. So for like the first week, I definitely slept with a pillow under my side. I said in the beginning of the story, I was not on my period when I went in for this IUD, and I was still on birth control. So my doctor told me to go ahead and keep taking my birth control for 7 days. Those 7 days, literally nothing happened. Oh no. Okay, so this isn't painful or anything, but I burped all the time. Like, it was like my body was getting used to something being in it. So it was just like releasing random gas. It was so weird. All day I was just burping for like a week. After, you know, I got done burping all the time, it was the end of the 7 days, so I stopped taking my birth control. I obviously just like ran out. And then immediately after I stopped taking my birth control and I started my period, I got the worst cramps of my freaking life, okay? I work in a lab, so I was actually like, I had my head down in my hands, and I was trying not to cry in front of my coworkers. That's how bad it hurt. It only lasted roughly like a minute and a half. So it was kind of like my cervix was trying to get used to the fact that there was a foreign device in it. I was kind of scared that it was going to keep going, but after I believe like 2 days into my period, thankfully it stopped. So I had my period. My period was roughly 3 or 4 days longer than usual. I thought that it was going to keep going because everyone kept talking about spotting, but mine just stopped. It was super weird. I am thankful for that, but I did not have that weird spotting that a lot of people say that they have experienced. So right at that, like the end of that 3-week mark, literally nothing happened. Like, I couldn't feel my IUD when I slept anymore. No more cramps. I didn't have any unnecessary bleeding. Literally nothing happened. After, I believe, 4 to 6 weeks, you were supposed to go back in to see your doctor. I think I went to see her exactly at 5 weeks. So I went in, and basically when you go in for your consultation, they're supposed to go and check for, to make sure your strings are still in place. I go lay down, and she cranks me open, you know, the good old-fashioned way. And then when she does, it's kind of silent in the room. It's just her and I this time. She gets a little like scrapey thing and starts to scrape, and I have no idea what's happening, by the way. She starts to scrape, and then I just started having flashbacks to the time when she had cranked me open and then put a giant IUD stick inside of me. So I started to like panic. And so I asked her what was happening, and she told me she couldn't find my IUD strings. I told her that it was bringing back memories, because that's the type of person I am. And so she immediately stopped doing it. I was kind of squirming around. I'm probably making her life super difficult. So she told me that she wanted me to go and get an ultrasound from the main hospital. I go to my ultrasound. Super nice lady. It took roughly like 30 minutes. They basically gave me my results to my doctor, so they didn't tell me anything right away. My doctor right after that sent me an email. Everything was perfectly fine, and that they were going to keep the IUD where it is. Basically my strings just, how they used to hang out my cervix, they kind of got folded inside. I did not experience any overwhelming changes in like acne or anything like that. 2 weeks after I stopped my birth control, I did notice that I was experiencing like tenderness of the breast and whatnot. Sometimes I just felt like off for a little bit. I don't know, I just feel like it took so long for my body to get used to having all those hormones pumped into it daily, that when I went to my IUD, and the IUD does have less hormones than birth control because it doesn't have to like pump through your entire system to get to your reproductive system. It's already there, it's already in that localized area. So just going from that like high amount of birth control to a low amount of birth control, it kind of made me feel weird. I was kind of like sad, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was kind of sad for a little bit. Not to the point where like if you said something mean to me I cried, but like if I was watching TV and there was a puppy running towards its owner, I just cried. So that was a hot mess. My pain in my legs that I was experiencing with my birth control is basically over, so that's a good plus. Overall, this experience was super pleasant for me. I don't have to remember to take birth control, which I sucked at, like I told you. I really think that the like lowering of the amount of hormones in my body is awesome. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching my video. If you like this video, don't forget to like. Also take a look at all of my makeup type videos. This is not makeup, but like if you like to, go ahead and click down below, and thank you so much for watching.